Hi brewers, I'm Daniel with MCH Australia Keg King. A lot of people have been asking us to show off how we use our Keg King Guten Brewery systems. So today, really simply, really lazy, I'm gonna do an IPA on a Keg King 40-liter brewery system. Let's just go ahead and assemble the malt pipe so that you can see how that's done. You can tell this is the bottom screen because it only has one hole in the center, no other larger holes than that. And these are going to be oriented so that the bump in the screen faces up. With your bottom screen, you're going to locate the overflow pipe. So locate the base of the overflow pipe, pop it through the screen, and screw the overflow pipe into place. Orient it into your mash pipe, like that, lock it into place, and put that into your system. Just like that. If you got a locking screen with your system, it looks like this. There's extra strengthening ridges in it, which help keep it more rigid when you've got more weight on top of it. And there's an edge to this screen that fits neatly into the roll at the bottom of your malt pipe, so it locks into place. And then your top screen looks like that. So your top screen will have two holes to either side that you're going to attach handles to make it easy to lift in and out of your malt pipe. We're just going to fill up with mains water from Melbourne, from one of the aquifers here, and we're going to let that be our mash water today. So we're going to shoot for a mash ratio of about 3:1. There's also 6.6 liters of dead space beneath the mash screen. So we're going to have to put that in first, and we can kind of calculate that what we're going to need is about 22 to 24 liters, including that dead space water. I'm going to warm that to about 64 degrees, and then I'm going to start adding the grain and bring that into place. So our system's just come up to about the right temperature. I'm going to go ahead and pause it and set for 70 minutes for the mash. And we just put that back into the system, and we're going to float that into the water. You can take the handle out, put the little white cap. Next, we're going to add some grain. As we add the grain, we'll do it like about a jug at a time from the bucket that I've got it all prepared in. Add grain a little bit faster. Remove that extension, pop on the top screen, and then you can pop your extension tube back on top. You can put your lid back on. Find your pump return arm, and we're going to put this into place. Your pump switch is right next to the power switch. Switch it to on. And now we're going to be taking the liquid from the bottom of the mash tun and pumping it back over the top. Find your handle. Set it into the holes, and then you're just going to lift carefully so that you can set it up on the truss. So when you first lift, you'll feel that there's some suction. Just allow it to kind of drain a little bit first. So we're going to add some water to the grain bed just to be able to rinse off some of the sugars. So once you can hear that the mash tun's no longer dripping into the kettle, you're done with the sparge. We'll move this grain along, and we'll set this so that we get higher power and start ramping up to the boil stage. As we're coming up to boil, we can start preparing the hops. So with this recipe, we're going to use 3 different types of hop. We've got Citra, we've got Centennial, and we've got Cascade. These are all 100-gram pouches. We're going to add a little bit at the beginning of the boil to add a bit of bitterness. We're going to add a little bit just after halfway through the boil for a little bit of flavor and aroma. And then we're going to add a lot more towards the very end of the boil for a lot of flavor and a lot of aroma. You have to move the hop spider to get it out of the way. Try not to splash it. We're getting close to the end of the boil. Let's throw in some more hops. Let's do the Cascade. So we've reached pretty much the end of our boil. Right now, there's 2 minutes left to go. I've already hooked up an input and an output for the immersion chiller. The input's just going to be coming from some mains water, but the output's going to be going to a garden. So I'm going to go ahead and add the last charge of hops as soon as the boil stops, which is in 1 minute. And we're going to do a mixture of Cascade, Centennial, and Citra. And we're going to add those directly to the hop spider and kind of bang it around a little bit so that it can get into the liquid. So at that point, we're going to turn on our mains water and start chilling. You can leave the system on so you can use the thermometer on the system to be able to see how quickly you're going down in temperature. So we're looking to bring it down to about 22 degrees or under if possible. In the meantime, let's get these hops in. You can start your own whirlpool. What I've done is the immersion chiller is nicely clamped with the hoses on it so that we don't get leaks. I'm just kind of gently giving it a stir. I've already sanitized this, and that's why you can see there's some foaming sanitizer still in it. So use a little bit of ethanol spray, and you'll just, there you go. You should do a refractometer read now before you move the beer into the fermenter. We've been able to make a wort that was about 1058, 1059 is what it looks like in the refractometer. Enter the fermenter. Your wort is going to be in there and needing a little bit of oxygen at the start when we add the yeast. So now it's time to pitch the yeast. We're now going to put an adjustable pressure relief valve or spunding valve onto the gas side of this snub nose fermenter. Let's get this valve on here. Let's get this fermenter into our temp chamber. We've set it to 18 degrees, and that's it. The extra hops that I had left over from the 100-gram packages, I'm going to use as dry hop later on in the cellaring process. So I'll package those back up so I can keep them in a refrigerator and keep them fresh until I'm ready to use them. And then we're going to use them in the dry hop of this IPA. This brew day was really fun, really lazy brew day. Not a lot of numbers, not a lot of other things that you have to figure out. Just getting your grain to turn into sugars, add some hops, chill it down, put it in a fermenter. You're going to have great beer to enjoy from this brew day. Thanks, brewers. Appreciate you watching.